Hi guys, welcome to Gord's Garage. In this episode we're going to show you how to tune your ride. Today I've got my MXZX 850 and I'd like to show you what I do to set it up. So number one, we're going to start with the rear suspension, and the first thing we're going to talk about is the actual sag in the rear suspension. So on the MXZX, if you measure from bottom of the track to top of the lift handle here, fully extended, it's about 30 inches. So when I'm sitting on the sled fully dressed, about 190 pounds, and we'd like to have 2 to 3 inches of sag. So when I'm on the sled, this thing should sit down 2 or 3 inches. So how we initially go about doing that is we adjust the rear springs. So the rear springs sit here, position 1 being the softest. Take a wrench, 1 inch, turn it counterclockwise. You'll see position 2, the sled rises up a little bit. It's about 20-30 pounds every click. A rider my size would be, on average, about a click or 2. And that's going to give you the right ride height with about 2 to 3 inches worth of sag when I'm sitting on the sled fully dressed. Next item we're going to talk about is the coupling block. The coupling block is probably a little bit misunderstood because this is the device that actually couples the suspension. So position 1, the thinnest position against the rubber block. 2, 3, 4, it gets thicker. It's very easy to adjust. Push on the red button here, click it over, it'll lock in position. Whatever position you put here, you also want on the other side. The thinner the block, the more ski lift under exhilaration. So my riding style, position 2 seems to work well for me, 2 to 3. This will give you a nice ride in the corners, and yet he'll still give you the fun factor. Center shock, the way I like to set it up, I'd like to have the least amount of pressure that I can get away with there. And the limiter strap, the longer you keep the limiter strap, the more the skis will lift under acceleration. So for a trail guy, we want to have the right balance, that we got some pressure on the skis when you come to the corner, but yet when you're coming out of the corner and you squeeze the throttle, that the weight is going to shift back. Very important that the front end be set correctly as well for sag. So I'll show you how I set it up. I'm going to put a jack underneath here, take the weight off the machine, and there's a little rubber underneath the shock. We're going to slide that all the way up. Then we're going to let our jack down, put the weight on the machine, just give it a little, this is kind of where it naturally likes to set. Then we're going to jack the machine up again. And now we're going to measure the distance from the rubber to the inside of the shock. I like to have about an inch, inch and a quarter. That's the correct amount of sag for me. So if you have 2 to 3 inches in the back on sag, an inch and a quarter to an inch and a half on the front, it's going to give you a very nice balance when you're riding. Okay guys, for the last tip that I like to do, I like to take the spacer. It's on the ski leg. There's one on each side from the factory. We're going to take one off the inside. We're going to put the 2 of them on the outside. We're going to put the ski back on with the 2 spacers on the one side, and this is going to increase our ski stance by about a ½ inch on each side. So 42.5, we're going to go to 43.5, going to give you that extra little bit of cornering and stability. Hope you enjoy these tips. Tune in next time for more tips in Gord's Garage.